Welcome back, and today we're talking about Moriarty the Patriot, episode 7. So like always, let's just jump into it. We finally get part 2 of last week's episode where we get to see the whole play that Moriarty was setting up with Anders play out, and it was truly amazing. But before we jump into it, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out and I greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about Moriarty the Patriot, because this episode was absolutely crazy. I loved every second of it. Just the payoff of this episode was great, and finally getting to meet Sherlock Holmes at the end with his famous quote was absolutely great. Now, the episode, of course, we see that Moriarty is kind of just, he went to Anders' room, saw the body, and acts like he's about to help Anders out by dumping the body over the balcony onto the sea. He was talking about how it's a perfect night because there's no moonlight out, so nobody's going to be able to see it. And honestly, I was kind of wondering what's going to be Moriarty's play here, right? Is he going to like blackmail Anders? But as it turns out, he was just trying to get the bodies into Fred and Sebastian's, or Moran, however you want to call him. He just wanted to get the body to them so they can use it later on. So this definitely puts Anders at ease, because he thinks the body is, is already at sea. There's no way they're going to find it, right? So if you can't find the body, there's really no crime, right? But man, Anders was in for a surprise. Whenever they were like in the little balcony watching the play, whatever you call that, the booth, is that what it's called? Is that a booth? Whatever it's called. When they were watching that play, and he was screaming bravo, like just seeing Anders act like he just did not murder somebody. It's absolutely crazy, right? Like Anders has no worries in the world. Like he honestly believes, he has like a god complex at this point, right? Where he honestly believes that noblemen are so much better than commoners. Even though we're all humans, he actually thinks they're so much better that they're just like livestock. And it was just bad seeing Anders kind of act like nothing was going on, like he just didn't murder somebody. Now, Moriarty's plan was to get the guy that was the other noble that was with Anders in the front seat. He will have like a front seat row into what Anders was doing. Essentially, Moriarty was able to get Anders to look down at the audience and find the commoner that he just killed. Now, of course, this was Fred kind of, disguised as the commoner, which that's his job, right? He does a very good job at it. He did a last episode with the one lady, which it was a really, like, it was like a twin of the lady that died. So Fred is definitely doing a banging job at disguising himself. He definitely fooled Anders to where Anders, right, he went on fight and flight mode. Like he's not thinking straight. He automatically went to go get this commoner again, because he can actually say something, right? He believes that the commoner can go and spread saying that Anders is a murderer and stuff like that. Anders, I'm sure he doesn't want that to come out. So he's chasing after this commoner to the point where when he finds his dead body once again, he just starts stomping on it, like no disregard for that body, right? Like complete disrespect, and starts stabbing it again. And that's when the platform comes up and the second act of the play ends. It was absolutely beautiful. The imagery, everything about it was just great. Everything worked out to Moriarty's plan. And I have to say, I love whenever, the platform raised up and we see everybody looking at Anders kind of stabbing this commoner, the body of the commoner, because the dude was dead for a long time. And we see everybody's eyes glowing, right? To me, that was something along the lines of like, everybody's going to judge Anders, right? Like nobody's going to side with him. Heck, even his friends that are nobles, nobody in the right mind is going to side with Anders right now, right? So he was being judged by the public, and essentially the public was the judge, and they found Anders guilty. They were chasing him all over the boat. Again, this is just beautiful imagery. How the episode, like the last episode from last week, how it started with Anders hunting another human, which is just messed up in so many ways, right? Because he's literally thinking of human lives as livestock, like they're nothing more than things you would hunt, like wildlife. So the fact that this episode, it displayed the same imagery, right, with Anders running away and the police chasing after him, it was the exact same thing. It was beautiful. I loved it. Anders 100% got what was coming to him. I honestly hoped that he got more than that, right? Because he just fell down the boat. I mean, he just fell off the boat. He climbed the little pole. I'm like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna stay up there for the rest of your life? Like, you're gonna have to come down eventually, right? So I don't know what Ender's plan was. It was really dumb, but I'm glad Sebastian kind of shot him and kind of, you know, helped him out, because he fell off the boat, and obviously he probably died out at sea. He probably drowned. Probably one of the worst ways to go. But again, no remorse. I don't feel nothing for Enders. Enders 100% deserved everything he got. Honestly, I wish he would have gotten a lot worse than what he did, because he definitely deserved it. I mean, just that scene where Enders was kind of getting his cigarette and putting it out on the commoner's body, that's just messed up. I mean, Enders is definitely a sick person. I'm glad everybody turned him. That was his last moment. It was truly awesome. Now, of course, the biggest scene in this episode for me was confirmation that Sherlock Holmes was the character that we met last episode. He had a very interesting talk with Moriarty, right? Whenever we found out that Enders, when the platform raised and, you know, everybody in the audience saw Enders committing this crime, again, everybody thought he just committed murder then and there. And when he went to attack the other noble, of course, Sherlock Holmes stepped in. He did some little, you know, martial arts, whatever he did to stop Enders. And he immediately went to check on the body, right? He was able to figure out that the body has been dead for like 10 to 15 hours, however long it was. It's been a long time. So he knew that body did not die right then and there. So he talked to Moriarty. And now we don't know what Sherlock Holmes is thinking right now, right? He could be talking to Moriarty because he knows he's another smart person, or because he suspects Moriarty, right? We don't know exactly what it is. My guess is Sherlock Holmes is definitely suspecting Moriarty as to creating this whole plan. He even said that there had to be a third party involved, because how else would the body get there, right? He figured out the body died 15 hours ago, and he knew that Enders had that false sense of security. That's why he went in there with the body and tried to kill it again, tried to stab it again, so he can get that confirmation. So Sherlock Holmes was able to deduce so much with so little information. Is quite amazing. And, you know, I love the quote that he said, right? If you have seen like the Sherlock Holmes TV show, that I've seen that one on Netflix, it's absolutely great. And he has the same quote, right? No matter like, when you remove every other possibility, no matter how improbable the ones that are left are, it has to be it. And it's a beautiful quote. I know I didn't say it the 100% correct way, but that's how I knew he was Sherlock Holmes. And then, of course, he gives us his name later on. So I cannot wait to see these two people kind of go at it, right? Moriarty versus Sherlock Holmes is going to be a great psychological battle. Definitely looking forward to it. I hope we get more of Sherlock Holmes, because I have to say, I love his character right now. He might be my favorite version of Sherlock Holmes, because at least from the movies that I've seen and stuff like that, he doesn't act the way this Sherlock Holmes is acting, right? Like, this Sherlock Holmes, he has that cocky personality where he's confident with himself. He's not fidgety. He's not like a awkward person, right? At least in the Netflix TV show, we see that Sherlock Holmes was really awkward when he came to interacting with other humans. And here, he doesn't seem to be. So I really like this version of Sherlock Holmes. Hopefully we get to meet him more in the later episodes. I mean, this is episode 8. So we got what, like, there's 12 episodes probably in this anime, so we got 5 episodes left, give or take. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of Sherlock Holmes. I hope he gets more screen time. I hope he gets cases where Moriarty is involved. And see how that's going to work, right? See how Moriarty is going to deal with Sherlock Holmes, because he's weary of him, right? Whenever he was talking to Sebastian and Fred, whenever they got off the boat in his house, how Sebastian was giving him an update of how the public feels about Enders. You know, Sebastian was saying that the public is kind of in an uproar because, you know, Enders is a noble and he was hunting humans as a game. So it was messed up. And he kind of gives a warning to everybody, right? That he met somebody on the boat that could be problematic, right? He could be a little problem down the line. So he definitely needs to look more information about him. And of course, he was talking about Sherlock Holmes. And yeah, I cannot wait. Hopefully, episode 9, we get a whole episode about Sherlock Holmes. I really want to get to know him better in this anime because he seems so different from the Sherlock Holmes that I've known in movies and TV shows that I've seen. So overall, great episode. I love the whole plan, how it all played out. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.